Boy, you done it now. Hey, all, it's Macabre Derek here with another RPG rant. So, over the past couple of days, I've been having a long winded discussion. Can't even speak English anymore. It's gotten that long. It has. Saw Jaw Neck Stomper. Ended up posting a bit where he wanted to end up discussing his dismay for characters that, well, don't quite fit the norm or can't do their job. Now, he claims that he understands where I'm coming from, and I'm trying to extend that same olive branch, but he ended up making a comparison that I think he accidentally kind of ended up going for a comparison that actually proved what I was trying to do. Not so much proved, but was more interesting than he initially implied. And that comparison is Conan the Barbarian versus Sally the 12-year-old Pally. Let's consider this. Conan, a classic bit, and, well, most of us end up knowing it from the Schwarzenegger films, let's be honest here. A lot of you may have collected the comics or have read the books, really engrossed in the lore that is Conan the Barbarian. And rightfully so. But the thing about Conan is that he's kind of overplayed as a character in a lot of RPGs. While he can be that seed that starts to grow a character out, maybe, just maybe, can end up inspiring a legion of barbarians, and everybody can end up saying, yes, this is cool to be an outsider that has wandered the wastes and has lived off the land and is truly hardened by the harshness of nature, coming in with an axe and the rage and the fury that is within. Maybe that's pretty good. But here's the thing. He seemed to imply that I would not be happy with somebody coming up with Sally, the 12-year-old Pally. Quite frankly, I actually find this intriguing. Here's a few things. A few things that Conan doesn't do, but that Sally, the 12-year-old Pally, actually fits in a group dynamic far more. Why is that? Okay, well, let's start off first off stat-wise. Let me double check here. Okay, so according to him, Sally, the 12-year-old Pally, has a strength and con of 6, but a wisdom of 14 and a charisma of 17. Okay, let's assume that that's the character that Sawjaw Neck Stomper just ended up bringing to me. And said, okay, you want to know what? Show me why it is that this character could possibly be awesome. I mean, after all, when I need a tank, when the group needs a tank, why the hell would we end up calling them in? Well, first of all, your problem is that you think that your group requires a tank. It doesn't. You want to end up trying something fun? Here's one for you. Try and end up doing a party of all rogues. Well, now all of a sudden we're all doing the same thing. No. You see, if you're smart about it, you might be able to actually come up with something that's different, something that's more imaginative, something that can grab the imagination. You know, you got one who's a swindler, a con artist. You got another who is a burglar. You got another who's a thug and a convict. You got another who is more of the blackjack in the night. Well, all of a sudden we got 4 different characters all rolling the same goddamn class, and quite frankly are probably coming together with a lot of different attitudes, yet all of them fall under rogue. So let's take a look at Sally and Conan the Barbarian, both of which are supposed to be tough as nails. Well, except Sally, she has a con of 6. How is she supposed to be tough? Guess what? She isn't, and that's a good thing. That weakness suddenly says, guess what? She has to come across things in a very different light. How does she do it? That charisma, right? That wisdom. Try and imagine running across a 12-year-old who dispenses really good advice to you, despite maybe the lack of world experience. Is very smart, able to put things together, able to see the bigger picture, and in fact said, no, I, despite my age, will end up standing as a champion for good. Oh, okay, I guess we got something of interest here, but what else is there? Well, what else is there is the party. See, unlike Conan, who, if somebody gave me that character, yeah, it's an all right concept, but when Conan's introduced to a party, he doesn't bring any inherent questions with him that most parties will try and end up asking themselves. First and foremost, can we trust to bring him in front of the king and not rage and lop his fucking head off? Sally, on the other hand, well, now you got a bit of a question, because if you are in a group of adventurers, all supposed to be good, champions of that which is right, brought with this child, how good can you be when you're putting a child at risk? On the other hand, how good can you be when you hold back someone who's clearly better than most of you as far as virtue? What does she bring to the party? You know what she brings? She brings that innocent outlook, that ability to know that their inside is an eternal optimist who can try and end finding the right way to do things, to try and end up finding the better way to do things. As a moral imperative, you end up having somebody who can end up sharing that same wisdom, and while not probably high in intelligence as far as skills and worldly knowledge, has an innate understanding of the world, has someone with the force of conviction and the force of charisma to bind the people, bring people together. And here's the thing, she's still in her formative years. In a long-term campaign, I mean, I'm talking long-term, we're talking maybe 5-6 years play, we get to end up seeing something very unique. A character growing through adolescence. In a long-term campaign, that's actually quite fascinating. How do you end up doing that? And what kind of person do you turn into when all you've known is adventuring since you were that tall? There's some interesting little key points. But Conan, well, he doesn't bring these questions because he's already done that with his backstory, you know? Pushing the wheel. By the end, tossed into the pits for fighting, showered with blood as he killed, he ended up gaining the love and brought women and scrolls and learning to read and write, understanding the wisdoms of the ages and following the riddle of steel. To Sally, these would be interesting pursuits as well, but we get to see her follow them. We also have a few innate questions that come down. How does someone so young follow the cause, which is the paladin? What does that do with the time frame, right? Where normally adventures are happening one after another, after another, after another. Sally might be one of those characters where you're doing it long term. The band gets together that one time a year, and you get the Seven Samurai situation, where the first session might just be following Sally as she gets the band back together. One more time, hit the road, do what needs to be done, for there is injustice in the world. There is evil to slay and people to inspire. That's interesting. That's actually quite interesting to me. When you end up deciding to end up bringing up a character as a negative point and saying that she's not a tank, Well, that goes into trying to end up doing standard door opening procedures and proper party composition. But it removes probably the most enjoyable aspect, which is that dynamic of characters with strong personalities and having to overcome personal weakness. See, I'm getting the impression here that Sawjaw Hinextampa has this idea that if the character has a weakness and it needs to be taken out, right? You need to have iron will if you're lacking a little bit of wisdom because the dice didn't roll your way. You're going to need to end up showing that you're doing your role. Are you DPS or are you healer? If you're a cleric, I better not see you be taking weapon proficiency because you're there to heal. That's all you're there for. We're not really going to get praise to the gods that, are giving you this power to be able to stitch us together and keep us rolling. And all of a sudden, why would we do that? We just got to bring about the ire of the gods. Really? I can guarantee you that this kind of person would not get along with me in a role-playing environment. He has not made the appropriate sacrifices to my god when I'm playing the paladin or the cleric, more likely the cleric. He has not paid the tithe. He has not shown the respect to those of the cloth. He worships a hedonistic god, clearly with the amount of blood that he needs to spill. Sociopath. A person who feigns caring for the world, but reality, we all know he's only about the gold and the power. No respect for something that knows power beyond any limits, a magical item that can be carried, something that touches lives. You missed opportunity with Sally, the 12-year-old Pally, I can guarantee you that. And if you had a GM worth of salt, he would be able to end up seeing that character and go, I can see a lot of potential in this character. The better question is do you have what it takes as a player to be able to play such a character to its fullest potential? Consider next time any of those odd ideas you might have had for characters, ones that don't normally fit. I mean, the classic example of this, I would end up saying, try and end up doing a half-orc enchanter. Man ended up dropping that one. I always wanted to end up playing that. Here's one for you. How about the Bard Alchemist, who uses his ability not to play instruments, but to peddle his wares and to be able to wheel and deal. Maybe make a friend or two upstairs, where the nobles live. Maybe make a barbarian who's cultured. Oh, yeah, there's one. Believe it or not, kind of got a Bruce Banner thing going. Very fine, very well spoken, very dressed. Yet, if you end up pissing him off in any way, shape, or form, he can end you. Look at that. Maybe he tries to bubble in, maybe he tries to hide under the veneer. No, I am not a thing of the wild. I am not out there as a killer. No, I'm refined in that I'm rehabilitated. Look at me in this grand city built of cobblestone and glass and steel. Not mud huts. I've grown such things. But it's always there, waiting for that opportunity. When you treat these characters as more than stats, you can build up some very interesting personas, and it's the players that make the story. Think of what kind of story you can make with all these characters you throw away because they're not doing their job. If you found this interesting at all, as a thought, press the like button. If you enjoy what's been going around here and you want to see more, hit the subscribe. Feel free to hit share, comment, all that BS. And, well, feel free to drop a link in the thought. I enjoy the discussion. Thanks again, Sawjaw.